Okay.
We should be live. We should be live.
We should be live.
We
Oh,
should
yeah,
be
there we
live.
go. I've got something. I have something. Yes.
Yes!
We see some liveness.
We did it again.
Fantastic. And go, go, go is the name of this hangout because we are Formula One, all things Formula One, except Formula One. Although we will be talking about Formula One. But there you go. So welcome everybody to Italy, round something or another, probably 14.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
To me, it's the second one. Second.
Look down there, it'll be there. It's the second one. What do you mean by the second one, Fabio?
Well, I mean, I'm just counting. I don't know. Just counting two. I don't know. Must be some. I
Two.
can't remember exactly what happened before. But
Oh, I know. Two pastries. You've had two winning pastries. Is that right?
I mean, eventually you will have to concede to me that I called the guy a long time ago.
Yes, I'm going to concede to you that, in fact, you did say Leclerc, 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 Leclerc. You said that to me.
Yes.
Those were your very words, I remember.
Yes, yeah, I said that. Yeah, verbatim.
Right there and then I said, yes, the pacey pastry has pace. There's no doubt about it. And he's proven that this week because he's won his second Grand Prix in a row.
Yeah.
Not totally unexpected because obviously it suits the Ferrari car, but unexpected in that we were all expecting Vettel to get his shit together this time.
Mm-hmm.
But no, he didn't. Lap, I can't remember which lap.
Nine?
Pretty soon into the race, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think 9.
He came
like
through Ascari, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just fuck me. I can't remember the names of the corners. Jesus
I think I might have
Christ.
got it fucking right first time. He came through Ascari and dropped it. Again, lack of rear grip. Very strange that on the Ferrari. That was also called by you early in the season. But nonetheless, lack of rear grip. He span off the circuit, and then decided to come back on the circuit in a rather dangerous fashion. So what he was thinking of, obviously, well, I can guess what he was thinking. Fuck everybody else. Let's just get on with the race because this is going to look really bad. Unfortunately, Stroll was the unintended party that joined him and also then span off the track, only for him to enter the track dangerously and force Gasly off the track. What a fiasco is all I can say. So enough said about the second Ferrari. Well, the first Ferrari did something, but I can't remember exactly. Oh, yeah, he won, but we'll pass on from that. And Lewis Hamilton. He came third, but got the fastest lap. Yes. So that was the Italian Grand Prix. Mm-hmm. Very exciting. What did you feel about it, though?
It was funny because, usually, the Grand Prix when, a guy goes first at the first corner and then ends first. That's not usually, a Grand Prix that you would call exciting, right? But this one, I think, that proved us wrong because, yeah, I mean, it's true. If you look at the laps, Leclerc, was first at the beginning and he came first at the end, but it was everything but not exciting. Mercedes tried with Lewis first, and then they tried with Bottas again, and they just couldn't reach the guy. I think it was an interesting race. Sebastian, as you said, lost the rear at the Ascari. You called it. You're right.
Lucky guess.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it just. I think it was the rest of his race was good only because he stopped and he put the white tire, so they had a little bit more data about that. Even if and as everybody knows, it's not that if a team puts a tire. The data is spread with all the teams, so everybody knew what the tire was, how the tire was behaving at the time. But and there is a very interesting thing about the tires in Monza. I think that Ferrari actually won the race because they put the white tire. Monza it's a very weird circuit. I'm sure you remember, other people remember. For example, Michael Schumacher, in Monza, he always wanted the hardest tire that you could get because it's a problem of consistency. So, yeah, grip is important, but consistency in Monza is more important. You get the temperature, you keep the temperature. So it is one of the very few circuits where a hard tire makes sense. The reason why Lewis didn't put a white tire is because they tried to make the undercut, and you can't possibly undercut with a white tire. So they had to use the yellow tire. And there is also the fact the Mercedes works better with yellow tire too. But the main reason was that they were trying. I mean, at that time they were really trying, to get to the front. It wasn't, just like they were, cruising along, waiting for, the eventual spot where they could get. They were really trying really hard. So yeah, so all in all, I think it was an interesting race because it was close, even at at the front. It was tactically interesting. There is an interesting thing, and then I'll let you talk. When Lewis got back on the track, Leclerc was, I think it was 0.6 seconds ahead. So another thing which I think that won the race was the pit crew, because Ferrari changed the tires, I think, in 2.3 and Mercedes in 2.6. And if you think that Leclerc was ahead of only 0.6 seconds while Lewis was trying, because they were trying the undercut, that added to the general result. So all in all, it was an interesting race, in its complexity.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree. Toto said that when Lewis pitted, before Lewis pitted, Leclerc was 1.5 ahead, and he was 0.6 after he came out of the pits.
Yeah,
which meant 0.9 of a second gained in the undercut, which is virtually nothing. I mean, that's a very small amount considering. But there again, you wouldn't expect a lot on a circuit like Monza anyway, with few corners.
No, they gained 1.2. They lost 0.3 of a second in the pit.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going on what Toto just said. That's all.
Yeah.
Toto said it was 1.5 before and 0.6 when he came out of the pit.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
So that's 0.9, and that includes the pit loss. So so 1.2, including not including the pit loss. You're right. Anyway, nonetheless, the pit loss was there, so that's still 0.3 of a second more, as you say. So fair enough. I mean, Ferrari, up until recently had the world record at pit stops, I believe, at like 1.9 seconds or something.
Yeah, stuff like that. They made something, incredible. I don't know the fuck they did that.
Yeah, absolutely. I had the T-shirt. Yeah. I bought the T-shirt when they printed it up because I was so impressed. But anyway, it was an interesting race. Lewis, despite having, being behind, managed to keep real close to Leclerc and put Leclerc under incredible pressure. Yeah. And so I don't think we should underestimate this drive by Leclerc, because it was a fantastic drive to be under pressure for virtually the whole race, and not to make many mistakes. I mean, he made a couple of mistakes, right? Mm-hmm. Which we'll get to talk about, I'm sure. But nonetheless, there were minor mistakes, and he recovered from them, and that's championship material right there. Any other driver would have done that. We would have been praising them to the high hill, regardless of the number of world titles they'd got. And so, this is a very good drive for Leclerc. If Verstappen had done it, then people would have been going, "Oh, he's a future world champion, Verstappen again. He's shown himself to be." Leclerc's done it, and we should really pour the same sort of praise on him. So I'm incredibly impressed. It was a very mature drive, considering. Lewis I mean, just drove the socks off his car. And so not to be able to get past kind of verifies for me the Ferrari's design impetus to have a low downforce, high efficiency car. There's no way. I mean, Mercedes would have won that race, no doubt about it, if against an older Ferrari, shall we say, in previous years. And it's just because of their improvements. Again, I think that they didn't manage to get a sniff. So it shows to me that they are going in the right direction still, although Mercedes are just improving at such a rate every year anyway. It's hard to overtake. Go ahead.
I think that Ferrari, got the upper hand in the two circuits. With it was really most favorite car. I still maintain that it's not the best car overall. And the funny thing, they were all complaining about the fact, and that it was actually really impressive if you watched on TV. The fact that Ferrari ahead and Mercedes on the back with the DRS open couldn't actually catch the car. So I agree that that was a really interesting moment. What the fuck is going on? It technically it wasn't that impressive because in Monza they ride with such a very low rear wing that when you open the DRS you don't get too much speed, but still it was still interesting because every time you see the DRS open you say, oh, it's catching on. No, it's not. I mean,
it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Mercedes was
but what I'm saying is that's the design philosophy of Ferrari coming home to pay dividends for them, right?
Yeah,
they couldn't get the top speed, whereas Ferrari can. And there are other circuits like that. I mean, we've got Japan and it's difficult to think of it.
Maybe Mexico. Maybe there is a long
straight. Oh yes, Mexico. There's a huge there as well.
So
there's two more races where pretty much nailed on Ferrari win. Not so much in Japan, I suppose, but
but there is also the thing that we shouldn't underestimate the moment that Leclerc is in right now. We all know that the drivers, when they feel they're in the zone, they can drive over the problems of the car. So even if the following races are not on paper favorable to Ferrari, and we'll probably more than probably see a repeat of the beginning of the season, up to Spa. I mean, if I were Mercedes, I wouldn't be that confident. Okay, as much confident as they were at the beginning, because the guy is definitely in the zone. There was an Italian commentator. It was really astonished. They interviewed the guy on Wednesday. They made a big thing in Milan, in the main square in Milan, and he was saying that he found Leclerc at the Ray-Ban store in Milan, and the first thing that Leclerc asked to the commentator was, how many drivers have won 2 races in a row, after winning the first race? So this was his state of mind.
Yeah, right. I know, but that's. I mean,
no.
Saying, oh look, I've managed to do something amazing. Oh, and it's twice in a row, and it's the first time.
No, but
let's just guess, shall we?
No, but that was on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So he only won Spa, and he wanted to know who won 2 in a row. So
of course. Yeah.
I mean, so his mind is in the right place.
Is he asking for 3 in a row? I'm not so sure.
Well, 3 in a row, I can tell you there is only, I think it's Mika Salo and Damon Hill.
Damon Hill, okay.
So, let's see.
Illustrious company there, Damon at the Hill.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, so, Lewis did really well considering, I believe he did really well to keep as close as he could to Leclerc for as long as he could. He showed the stature of the driver that he is. He can drive around a car as well as anybody can. And only to go and show that Bottas, of course, couldn't do that.
Yeah.
As soon as he got to the rear of the car, that he was off the track or making mistakes. So,
yeah.
Again, it shows, what great race driver Lewis is for me as well. This is not taken away from Leclerc's brilliant victory. And I will call it a brilliant victory. This one, I wasn't so impressed at Spa, but this time, wow, that was impressive. That much pressure, that young, to be taking it all race and still come away easily the winner.
Yeah.
There were a few little shades that we should talk about where we've got a black and white flag, which is unsportsmanlike conduct, if you like. And I did feel he was at fault here, and unnecessarily at fault. And that's really the key point for me there, was that there was no need for him to do that. There's no way Lewis was going to get past at that corner anyway.
Right.
And so it was just like, oh, panic. I better just run him a little close to the edge here. You know what I mean? And
no, I agree with you.
Not a world championship driver right there.
Well, no, I understand your point. Okay, the only thing that I can say is that I was really impressed in those two episodes when he cut the chicane, the first chicane, and when he pushed a little bit, Lewis towards the edge, and I was really impressed for two reasons. And I will start from the second episode, because yes, I mean, he pushed Lewis on the side. That it's without, but the way he did it was fucking brilliant. It was really smart in doing that. I don't know if you know what I'm saying. It didn't.
Well, I mean, I can guess what you're saying. Like Senna used to say.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. It wasn't the kind of maneuver, that people, just scream, foul or stuff like that. It just made what was necessary to scare the guy, to shit his pants, and it was just that, and that again, if Lewis does that, or Sebastian does that, or Ricciardo does that, you say, oh yeah, I mean, of course, this guy's been driving, since, for years. But this is his second. This guy hasn't even, I think he raced 35 Grand Prix in his career in F1. And to see that level of cold stone heart, and in doing that kind of shit, it is impressive, regardless if you agree with the guy or not, regardless if you think it was, a little bit over the line or what. The way he did it, it was really impressive.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I understand what you're saying in that he wants to intimidate the other drivers, so I'm not an easy guy to pass.
Yeah.
My point here is, if he'd been aware of the situation a bit more, and the older drivers certainly would have been, then he would have realised that actually the only thing he could have lost there, right, was the race.
Yes.
He could have been black flagged if he'd pushed Lewis off the circuit with contact. Then he would have lost the race.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
There's no need to be doing that because there's no way Lewis could have got past.
Right.
So he didn't need to give or squeeze Lewis off the track at all. I agree with you in terms of getting past and showing that you're not an easy person to get past, and you can race wheel to wheel as hard as you like, and no one's going to get round your outside, easily.
Right. No. That's exactly, the feeling I had. When I saw Lewis in the position that he was, and when I saw him trying to do what he wanted to do, even before Leclerc moved on the right, I was thinking, okay, what the fuck is going to do? I mean, there is nothing he can do. Is it the worst position ever? He can't.
Lewis, yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about Lewis.
Yeah, you have to overtake. I mean, what's the name of that curve?
La Roggia.
La Roggia. Okay, you have to go around the outside, as Alonso proved 8 or 9 years ago, right? When you tried as much as you liked around the inside of that curve, but because you need to go around the outside, him and Vettel overtook around the outside quite easily.
And there's also
by
the
driving
fact
off the track, right?
Yeah, and there is also the fact that after the corner you got to do more corners, and then the Serralli. I mean, it's something that if you fuck it up there, you bring all the mistakes in all the other corners.
And that's why I'm saying that Leclerc made a mistake here, because he gave Lewis the difficult line that you can't overtake on, and then squeezed him off the track.
Yeah.
That's a bad move. He's only going to lose races if he keeps doing that. right? If
Yeah,
he can,
no, I agree with you. I mean, again, you know,
and he'll learn from this. I'm sure he'll
yes,
go.
yeah,
Oh, actually, I didn't need to be doing that.
right,
Yeah, fair enough to show I'm a tough
right.
driver and stuff, but that doesn't show I'm a tough driver. It shows I'm a stupid driver. Because as far as I'm concerned, if Lewis had just stayed on his line, right, then he would have won the race.
Mm.
That
No,
that
listen,
was.
I'm with you. I know I would not contend what you say in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying that the
Sure.
guy made a mistake the previous corner, right? And actually, I was way more impressed with
The chicane.
in how he recovered from the chicane rather than what he did at the Roger, because he had the presence of mind to understand that he had to cut, you know, he made a mistake and he had to do that trajectory. And he was also smart enough not to gain an advantage, so nobody could really say anything. Actually,
No. I mean, he made a mistake, yeah, but he only ran deep into it, right? And
no,
that
no, no.
allowed Lewis to get a run out. It was at the next chicane after that that he completely missed the corner and just ran across. Oh no, it was the
No,
next.
no, 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 no. It's the other way around. He made the mistake at the chicane,
Oh, okay.
and he cut the chicane, and then they found, and that's why Lewis was so up on his tail at the Roger.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
I can't remember now.
yeah,
I thought it was
but I was impressed that he you know, and this is you know world championship material. You know, you realize you fucked it up. You don't go all the way like Lewis did and Verstappen did, you know, all the barriers. He said no, I'm gonna cut it there. He's gonna lose it anyway because, and that, you know, that shows that the Lewis was on his tail. But the presence of mind of cutting, you know, of recovering from mistake in that way, that was really impressive. And okay, I thought, okay, I mean, we have something going on here. This is brilliant, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say brilliant exactly. I've seen a lot of drivers do that, especially when they're in the lead. So I'm not saying that, but yeah, you know, he didn't bail out of the corner,
Yeah.
right, until the very last moment, and that allowed him then to cut across the speed humps,
Right.
right? Again, risking his car. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all things considered.
Hang on. He could have damaged the floor of his car
Right.
going across those humps. So it was a risk to take. But obviously, when you're talking about winning or losing the race, which is all that matters,
Yeah.
you're going to take that risk.
Right.
If you damage your car, well, you're going to lose the race. If you took the escape road, you're going to lose the race.
Right.
So there's no difference, and he chose the right option. And again,
and you have Lewis on the back, which has been pushing
Well,
you all
yeah.
the race. So I mean, no, what I'm saying is that
that doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. Like, that's completely fucking irrelevant. The point is, he chose the two options. Of the two options he chose, okay, one of them had the potential to lose the race, and the other would have lost him the race. So he chose the one that only had the potential, and he didn't, in fact, damage his car. So he was able to keep Lewis behind.
no, okay, probably I'm not explaining myself too well. What I'm saying is that the situation he was in, you know, he had Lewis motherfucking Hamilton on his tail for laps and laps and laps. So I understand what you say, and you're right. What I'm saying is that having the mind so cool in that position as to, you know, make the reasoning that you made, it's not something to be taken in, you know, to be downplayed. You know what I mean? You know, everybody else would have freaked the fuck out. Okay, because
I'm not sure everybody else. I've seen
Well-
Nick Hamilton do the same thing. I've seen many drivers. Truly's done the same thing. I've seen many drivers make that same choice, where they have a safe passage which will preserve the car against the dangerous, let's just ride the curbs and see what happens, the speed humps or whatever it is, right? Let's take the dodgy route back onto the circuit, like Vettel tried to do. A lot of the winning drivers do that. So I think it shows he's a winning driver, okay? But then that's what we know from Leclerc anyway. Again, for me, what shows that he's a championship winning driver is the fact that he took the pressure lap after lap after lap from Lewis Hamilton without losing lap time. Right? He was able to consistently keep his lap times there.
Yeah.
And that, to me, shows that He wasn't. He was driving within his limit, but as fast as he could.
Oh, I mean, he made 53 qualifying laps.
Yeah, exactly, and that shows the World Championship material that we're looking forward to. Not the fact that he's made this what I consider to be a fairly dodgy decision, because a fairly straightforward decision in that chicane to drive across the speed humps, right? Because he's going to lose. What's he going to lose? Well, he's either going to lose the race, or have to pit maybe, or not pit, just lose downforce, and his car's fast enough to give him second or third anyway. So what's the difference, kind of thing? Or definitely lose the race by taking the escape road, which obviously isn't an option because it's much slower. So he took a massive advantage there, and I thought that the stewards could have had a look at it. He certainly left the track and came back on the track, and maybe should have lost some advantage, but in fact was able to at least keep the advantage there. If Lewis hadn't have been so close to him behind, the stewards would have said something, I think, if he'd made up much more time than he did.
About the steward, there is a thing that, I mean, we got to remember. After Canada, they issued statements after statements and after statements, and that wasn't the first incident that happened after Canada where they said we would have given a little bit more leeway to the drivers. They would have, instead of giving, unless it was really in your face, but penalties would have been given with a different approach, which I think it was consistent. So, and I'm glad you raised the point, because I've read a lot of things like I should have been penalized. Yeah, I agree with you. It should have been penalized if Canada and what happened afterwards and what they said afterwards did not happen. Because of what has happened, we've seen a change in the steward approach to incidents. So I think that was to be expected. What happened.
Yeah, I think so, and it was fair enough. I think it would have been very harsh if they'd penalised him. I really do. They could have penalised him for the second mistake, but again, Lewis, he was alongside, but then into the braking zone, he wasn't alongside.
Yeah.
And so therefore, potentially, he didn't realise when he moved across that Lewis was still there. Yeah, maybe.
And I mean, it would have never made a corner anyway. I mean, the only thing Leclerc had to do at that point was just to go a little bit more deeper in the chicane, without moving on the right, and Lewis would have never made the corner because it wasn't ahead; it was quite behind.
Oh, he braked earlier. Yeah, I mean, he was alongside him going into the braking zone, but he braked a little bit earlier, knowing that he couldn't get around the outside anyway of that corner.
Right.
That's why I'm saying, Leclerc just did not need to make that move.
Yeah.
He could have braked in the straight line, no problem whatsoever, knowing that Lewis had already lifted off, and there was no chance that he could get.
I mean, being the count that I am, I'm kind of glad that he did.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying there. Let's not rehash the old Senna routine, right?
No. It's just because.
And Lewis said afterwards, right? Well, if that's the way it is with the player,
I mean,
I'm going to do the same thing. I'll squeeze it off.
Lewis has been asking, for the old times, battle with the pilot. Yeah, I mean, there you go. Now you have it. So yeah, I mean, I understand it's really fun if you're ahead and you get it first, but if you are, the other guy, it's not that funny, sometimes. But I get it, so he got what he asked. Sometimes you got to really be careful what you ask for.
Well, that was one of the bad things, because the steward came on afterwards and said, well, if there had been contact, we probably would have given him a black flag or at least a penalty.
Yeah.
Well, that sets a terrible precedent for the future.
Yes.
Because now the driver knows that if he swerves off the track to avoid contact, right, he's not going to get the penalty.
Right.
Which means there's definitely going to be more collisions.
Yes. Yeah.
That's just a terrible, terrible precedent to set, I think. And if Leclerc he's sensible about it, and he'll go, okay, so if I'm down the outside, I'm just going to stay on the track.
Right.
I don't care what happens. We can have the crash. But if I stay on the track, I'm going to get an advantage over the penalties.
Right. Yeah, I understand. It's
terrible.
really,
That's terrible. So they're going to have to revise that.
Yeah.
Whoever said that, whichever race steward it was that said that, is going to have to have his wings clipped, and they're going to have to readjust that because that's not correct. So yeah, I think some of it was that they were at Monza, so he got the black and white flag, and I think maybe, maybe that would have been harsh to give him anything other than that. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
so I'm happy that he won the race. I really am glad he won the race because it puts a lot of pressure on Vettel. So for me, that's like, yeah, this is what we want.
So,
Yes.
mm, before saying the obvious of being really glad for Ricciardo and the Renault, which made a very good race,
Yeah.
Russell made a nice race too with Williams, considering all the stuff. Should we talk about what happened in the qualifying?
Yeah, okay. I don't think there's much to talk about here, but yeah, please describe it for us, and then we'll.
Well, basically, what happened is that so Monza is the kind of circuit that I've heard a lot of things, and I think a lot of them were kind of preposterous because I've heard somebody said, yeah, if you got the drag from another car, you get something like 0.4 of a second on a lap, which I think is too much. I think that 0.2, 0.3 is way more, reasonable. But basically, what happened is that nobody wanted to get out on the track for the last attempt. So they waited and 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 waited. And at the 2 minutes mark, they finally decided to get on the track. There was, people pretending to make a mistake, like Hülkenberg, because he was in front. Other people were braking. Lo and behold, nobody crossed the line before the qualifying ended. Only Sainz did it, and so Sebastian was particularly pissed about it because in the first time they went out, it was Sebastian which gave the drag to Leclerc, and that would have been the other way around. So, and I think in that instance, it is fair to say that Leclerc was, it took that, it wasn't, okay, let me put it this way, it wasn't really crying that happened, okay? So, I don't think he did a lot to avoid it, but I don't think he just made a lot of things just to make that happen. I think.
No, it wasn't his fault that they didn't cross the line.
Right.
It was Berg and Perez's fault, or Sainz, was it? Perez and Sainz that slowed the whole field down and went side by side.
Yeah.
Why did they go side by side? Well, maybe they were asked to do that because they didn't have to do that early on in the lap. Now, the other point being that the radio message comes through from Seb to say, when he's told that he doesn't have much time left and he needs to get a move on, he says, yeah, but Leclerc's behind me. Leclerc's behind me. He needs to tell him to overtake. And of course, there's no way Charles is going to do that because then he's got 3 cars in front of him, which he's got to overtake, which is a little difficult. Now, Vettel, again, not being on the game this year, right? He could have just floored it and gone, come on, Charles, you need to overtake me.
Well, yeah, no, you're right. I mean, that radio thing happened.
The point being is that would have shown up Leclerc. That would have shown up Charles to be either playing games, right, against Vettel or not playing games. And Vettel didn't realise that.
Yeah.
Again, he's not on his game, Vettel, this year. It's obvious once the title goes, he's not that interested.
No, you're right. I think it is a combination because it's true what you said that Sebastian on the radio asked Leclerc to go ahead, and that was at the first corner, at the first chicane. So they had plenty of time, and that's true. I'm not really blaming a lot Sebastian or Leclerc because I think that the mistake was made because of how F1 is made. I mean, the decision to go out is not taken by the drivers; it's taken by the teams.
Yeah.
So Sebastian found himself into that situation, and I mean, so yeah, was it his fault? Yeah. Was it Leclerc's fault? Yeah. But they were put into that position by somebody else.
Yes.
And that's the thing which I think it was disgraceful. In F3, I think it was the day before, they made basically the same thing, and
Exactly the
then
same thing. Yeah.
and they penalized 15 drivers for that.
Yeah.
And the only reason that was really interesting, because there was at a certain point that I was thinking, okay, so they're going to give free position to everybody because you have got to keep a certain pace, which is the why in your out lap you got to keep the basically it's the pace of the pace car.
Mm.
There is a certain time.
Yeah.
The reason why that did not happen is because once the flag is shown, they stop the time. So even if the driver took more time to make the lap, they never finished the lap, so they could not be penalized. And the paradox is that, and luckily it didn't happen. Did not happen. The only driver which might have been penalized was Carlos Sainz, which was the only one which actually
It actually made it.
yeah. So yeah, it was weird, but it was a shame. I think it was.
Well, again, Vettel's chance for pole position and his only chance to win the race, as far as I was concerned.
No, but it was bad for the old F1, you know.
He missed a trick, right? He could have overtaken Hulkenberg and Perez, or Sainz rather, and shown that Leclerc didn't overtake
Right?
him.
Yeah.
If he didn't overtake him, then that would have shown Leclerc was playing games with it.
Yes, it should have done that. I agree with
So I think it's a huge trick miss there by Vettel, and again, it just shows he's not on his case this year. He's not interested once the championship goes and he can't win it. That's it. He's made his money. He's not going to be as sharp as he could be. There's no way Alonso or Hamilton would have made that mistake. They would have known that they're working against their teammates, and they've got to keep the pressure on their teammates. You know. But Vettel doesn't care. I think he genuinely wants Leclerc to do really well because he knows he's going to be the future in Ferrari, and Vettel doesn't really care because he hasn't got end this year. And I'll also point out that in the same time that Vettel says I'm saying that Vettel thinks he can't win and therefore isn't giving it number one. It's the same thing that Alonso left Ferrari for.
Yeah.
Right? Is Ferrari don't have a championship car once again. Okay.
It was a little bit different with Alonso, you know.
Absolutely, but he left Ferrari because they couldn't build him a championship-winning car.
Well,
right? So
that's only part of the story. I mean, when Alonso left Ferrari, at the time that Alonso left Ferrari, I can guarantee you for a fact, and I can bring you people in there that. Mm-hmm. Nobody liked Alonso. You know.
Oh yes. Well, the same story is that other teams as well, right?
Yeah.
But again, McLaren had him back, and they didn't like him the first time. He is a huge talent, so
Yeah, but he's a
special. Can't pass that over, and that's what I'm saying about not being able to win a championship in a Ferrari. You know.
Yeah.
And they still haven't done it yet, and that's a huge thing. And hopefully next year, with Leclerc being the number one driver, which is what I fully expect, then things will change. Yeah. So you never know.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we've covered that topic.
Yeah, you haven't blamed the tires yet.
You're little soon there. You're little soon. Of course, I'm going to blame the tires.
Yeah, please go ahead. We have 40 minutes in.
Yeah.
I haven't heard you say nothing about the tires.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah, to say I'm a bit tired of doing that might be a little bit too.
Well, you started it, and now you keep pushing it.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. You got me.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So moving onwards. So where are we at? I was just getting to something there, and I've been flummoxed because now I'm thinking tires. Shit. And what can I do for tires for? Okay, well the problem with the tires is the colour. I haven't seen races for anything, but they're black. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. I think they should be grey or brown or something a little nicer, pink. Maybe we should have pink tires. I don't know why they have to make them black all the time. Okay, so that's obviously a little facetious. I would have thought at Monza we would have had red tyres, but no, they didn't want to use the red tyres. Okay, so no, other than that, as you say, you already mentioned the other notables in the race. Renault had a really good race, which goes to show that their car is also pretty damn efficient. Kimi was just unlucky. I don't know what happened to Kimi
Oh no
exactly.
no no! That's a very good point. We got to find out who the fuck is the team principal or whatever the fuck in Alpha,
Guess what?
because
The wrong fucking tires. Wasn't
Kimi
it?
got 10 fucking seconds because they made it start with the wrong fucking tires.
I'm blaming the tires for that. I'm not blaming the team or Kimi. I'm blaming the tires.
And I don't know if you heard the radio communication where they told Kimi that he had to stop for 10 seconds. And it went something on the line, oh, Kimi, you got to stop for 10 seconds, because we have a penalty. And he asked, oh, what have I done? What happened? And the guy on the radio said, there was a problem with the tires. Something. Yeah, I will explain to you later after the race. Yeah. That was,
What does that mean? And it went, oh, I'll tell you after the race.
yeah, that was
Basically, wrong context.
fucking insane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's insane because I think in the old days, you used to be if you started from the pit lane, regardless of your qualifying position, you could put any tyres on you wanted. So it's a relatively recent rule. So but nonetheless, these are professional race teams, and you'd expect them to keep up with that kind of thing.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's my point. I mean, yeah, it is reasonable if me and you, we go there for the first race. It's, oh, fuck it. Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, those people do that for a living. So it is not reasonable at all. He's a fucking idiot,
Yeah. So, yeah, unlucky Kimi. Again, another specialist circuit for him.
Yeah.
And again, blown. You know what I mean? Typical.
Giovinazzi made a point. He got 9.
His first point, is it? His
Yeah.
first point, is it? Yeah, well done, Gio, I guess.
Yeah.
I haven't been impressed with him so far, but maybe it's because he's struggling with the car.
Can I just point out 2 things? The first one, and I really, really wish that Lewis, which is an amazing driver, is a fantastic driver, I want him to stop whining.
Oh, yeah.
It is fucking unbearable. Listen, man, you won 5 championships. You're going to win the 6th. You got the best car. You got the most money. You're the fastest driver. Stop fucking whining. It's incredible. I can't stand the guy, honestly. I have no qualms on his racing abilities. Of course, of course, he's got the best car, the best. Stop fucking whining, first of all. And the second thing which I didn't like is Toto Wolff. Toto Wolff said something on the line. I don't know if he was joking because I just read it. I haven't listened to him, so I don't know the tone. But he said something on the line like of course, they didn't give a penalty to Leclerc because if that happened, they would have to escort us with the police out of the circuit.
Yeah, it's Monza. They're not. He's not going to get a dubious penalty at Monza.
Yeah, but listen,
No way.
I can understand if you say that. Okay, I can understand if somebody says that. Toto Wolff cannot say that. He can't because of the position he is, because of the job he does, because of the person he is. He can think it. He can tell it to his wife while he's fucking at night. He cannot say that to John. This is not poor taste. It's wrong for the sport. It's wrong for the motorsport because everybody complains, including Italian journalists, when that it happened that Lewis won and everybody was booing him on the podium. Everybody complained about that. Everybody said it was wrong. Now you, Toto Wolff, cannot say that kind of shit.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That is a very good point, actually. We all know it. Okay. But again, these days it's not the case, right? And 10 years ago, 15 years ago, for 100% certain, right? You go to Monza and you're not going to get penalties against Ferrari. 100%. Okay. Almost doesn't matter what they are, you just won't get them. But things have changed a lot in the last 10, 15, 20 years, and that certainly isn't the case anymore. So I don't see Formula One being nearly as political as it used to be. And as such, I haven't seen any dodgy decisions like that at circuits for quite a long time. And so, yeah, I would totally agree with you that he shouldn't be saying things like, "Oh, well, there's no way we'd get that," even if historically that was the case.
Yeah,
Right? It's not guaranteed. And again, I thought it was a dubious penalty
right.
at best, and being dubious, well, you just can't give them against first-time drivers like that. Otherwise, you're just killing the sport.
Yeah.
If you always go, okay, oh well, that's the Formula, that's the world champion.
Right.
You drive like that against the world champion. Well, how's he ever going to get beaten then? You know what I
No,
mean?
but the thing is that the position he's in, I understand the drivers, when they're telling them, there is something wrong, and on the radio they keep saying, "Oh no, I didn't do that," but even before the penalty is assigned, because
Yeah.
they want to influence the steward. I understand that from the drivers.
Yeah, yeah.
But you are the fucking team manager. The badge you're wearing on your shirt,
Hmm.
you represent the brand, and you cannot do that. I'm sorry, because I've been in that. I've been in that situation, not as a team manager, but as part of the team, and you got to really be really, really, really careful for what the fuck you say, because it's not Toto Wolff saying that. It's the Mercedes team which is saying that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they don't deserve that kind of shit.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Again, I won't disagree too much with you on this. I think, yeah, if he said it the way you said it, then that's not good. Maybe he did say it with a bit tongue in cheek.
Maybe.
In
Yeah.
case if he did, fair enough. It's just more whinging. Yeah, that's the best thing to be said about it. And you're right. I don't think the winning team should be doing so much whinging. And I would also agree with you that I don't like hearing Lewis in the car go, "Oh no, but he's done this. What? How can he possibly?" No, I understand before
Yeah.
but to carry on doing it,
Jesus Christ, man.
does, it does hurt my ears a little bit. Although again, I don't mind if that's the way he has to express himself to get it out of his system, so he can concentrate on driving. That's all right by me.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. I'm just saying, he's a guy which is really pays attention, to his persona, to his character. I think that even if it's the case of what you say, which I didn't think about it, and yeah, if that's the case, yeah, it makes sense. It might just well be the case that it needs to vent a little bit, just to decompress. Yes, but even if that's the case, I think he should be working a little bit more on that aspect of his character, because what it transpires, it's different. It's just give it a fucking break, man. I mean, you have won the championship. Nobody in his right mind is going to say that he's not going to win this championship.
Well, yeah, but he hasn't yet. And in Lewis' times, remember all the years past where he's lost it at the last moment. You know what I mean? I can understand him going, "I haven't won it yet. Until I get the number of points required, I haven't won it."
So yeah, I mean,
stay focused. I'm going to stay driving 100%. I'm going to give it everything. That's the way he's won so many world titles. He's not done it just by going, "Yeah, I've got this now," even though that I haven't got the points yet. I can back off.
Are you trying to tell me that there is actually a chance that Bottas wins the world championship? Because if it happens, I would not see Formula One ever again.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fair enough. It's your decision, but I'm saying that is, as long as it's a mathematical possibility, it's a possibility, right? Lewis could start breaking his car every round, in which case he could start racking up the penalties. In which case he could start not getting the results. In which case Bottas could start winning every race. All of these things are still possible, although extremely unlikely. So, yeah, again, I know the mindset of these drivers, and I've heard them from over the years, virtually every winner say, until it's mathematically done, I haven't won the title. I'm not conceding it, because that will drop the edge that I have on my driving. Right? I won't be as competitive. I'll back out of a situation that I might not have, or I won't race quite as hard as I should in order to win. So that's what happens when they start thinking they've already got it won. So yeah, I don't blame Lewis for not conceding to anybody until he's actually got the title in his hot little hands. That he will be the sixth.
If Bottas wins the World Championship, not only will stop following F1, I will shave my head.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll hold you to that if that happens.
Yes.
And if Leclerc wins it, I'll shave my bollocks. Okay. Okay. So I feel that's a relatively good time to end the podcast on us shaving various parts of our body. Not needless to say, once again, a fantastic race by Leclerc. As an opposition to him, or as a supporter of the opposition to him, I am thrilled that he's won. He really deserved that race because of how well he drove. Virtually no mistakes all race under extreme pressure. That's the side of a champion. And as far as I'm concerned, that's what Verstappen didn't do in his first 2 seasons. Mm-hmm. This young man has already done.
Yeah.
So,
no, I think it's way ahead than Verstappen was.
Yeah.
And I will. I'm contending. Well, Verstappen has more experience
now.
But
2 years in, he was still making mistakes.
Yeah. So the guy's impressive. Is really, really, really impressive. And he's been consistent, and that's why I was pushing even last year, about the guy, because I remember him seeing in all the other categories. He destroyed all the categories they've been in. He just went in and he made mincemeat of everybody. And his mind attitude, the way he drives, the way he approaches the races, the way he thinks ahead, the way he puts himself in the zone is really, really, really uncanny. And then I quit. But I've heard a lot of people, this week trying to make comparison, to the guy. Oh yeah, he's a little bit like Niki Lauda, even if Niki Lauda in the beginning, it wasn't that good. So there's people, trying to put Leclerc in some kind of frame. The thing is that I think that Leclerc right now is Leclerc, which is I think it's the biggest compliment you can pay to someone with that world class.
Yeah, I mean, I would liken it to Hamilton in that he nearly won his first year in as his rookie year. He nearly won the title. Mm-hmm. Now that was an incredible year for him. He drove almost perfectly. He made a few small mistakes, just like Leclerc has done. But Leclerc doesn't have the car to do it, whereas Lewis did. But the person that I would liken him to is Michael Schumacher, because Schumacher came in.
No. I'm sorry. I'm breathing because that comparison has been made, and I didn't say that on purpose because because of bad luck and all that shit. But if you want to go there, we can go there. I think it was 96 or 93 or 96, maybe 96, where Michael won Spa and Monza back to back, just like Leclerc did, and that was the beginning of
Ferrari's comeback. Yeah.
Yes. So that I haven't mentioned that guy on purpose because that would be I don't want to jinx the guy.
No, well, the way I meant it was that Michael came in and drove above the car.
Yes.
Right from the beginning, all the cars. I mean, he drove above the Jordan. He drove above the
Benetton.
The Benetton, in which he won 2 world titles in. Yeah. I mean, what an amazing. And so, he drove past the limit of the car consistently through a race. He raced 100% from start to finish. Yeah. Probably the first driver to really do that. And that's what I've seen Leclerc doing. He's been driving past the car and driving at 100%. And this race for me, I mean, this is why I would take the time to make that comparison, is because this race he was under pressure doing it.
I agree with you, and I'm glad. No, no,
And
I'm just glad that you made the comparison. I
yeah,
didn't want to make it. So, but I agree with you. I actually agree with you a lot.
yeah. I mean, I'm not a Schumacher supporter, as you know, but I do recognise that
And
he is
that
one of the best drivers that we've had in
no, but
Formula.
that's even that puts more weight on what you said. The fact that you were not one of his big fans. That actually adds weight to your words. So yeah.
Okay, let's leave it there then, because I think
Yes.
we can end on no higher place than congratulations, the pacey pastry, Charles Leclerc. So, ciao, Fabio.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, everybody.